Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to be breaking down Lucifer Volume 9. In the last volume, God has abandoned heaven and the universe is slowly starting to crumble. To speed along the destruction of the world, this Norse god Fenris, who is really into Ragnarok and really wants the world to end, he orchestrated some events so that Yggdrasil, the world's tree, would be soaked in family-on-family blood. And that was achieved through Lucifer accidentally, in a way, killing his brother Michael. So Fenris is happy. The world ending is furthered along. Now, Michael, he died at the end of last volume, and his powers, his demiurgic creation powers, were going to be seeping out of him. And Elaine, his daughter, was going to have to absorb and contain those powers. And that is where we are going to pick up in this volume. So let's dive into it. Lucifer, Volume 9. Lucifer, Volume 9, Crux. Written by Mike Carey, art by Peter Gross, Ryan Kelly, Mark Hempel, and Roman Wimberly. This volume covers issues 55 to 61. Lucifer, issue 55, The Eighth Sin. Over in hell, we see some torture going on. A man is broken, unable to go on, when all of a sudden, something seemingly impossible happens. One of the demons in hell shows the man compassion, offering him water and comfort. The other demons are shocked, and they immediately slaughter this demon for his transgression. Still though, this apparently is not an isolated case. Hell's current leader, Remiel, is told of this growing horror of compassion spreading throughout hell. This marks the fifth such act of mercy. Unthinkable. Remiel yells at some of the demons, "Have you forgotten what we are doing here? How the fate of these souls depends on our holding fast to their just punishment?" Lady Lys, who is there when Remiel is talking to the other demons, tells Remiel that someone else in hell is preaching a different doctrine. Lady Lys explains that Christopher Rudd is preaching that nothing is eternal, that damned and demon alike should seek their fate and change, as God and Lucifer have already done. Remiel demands that Christopher Rudd be brought to him. After the meeting, Remiel talks with the other angel that he rules hell with, Duma, the silent angel. Remiel is starting to lose it. The pressures of ruling hell are starting to get to him. Remiel says, "I have to make the hard choices. I have to be cruel so that you can stay clean. Yahweh has abandoned us. What are we then? What are we without him?" Elsewhere in hell, we see Christopher Rudd is preaching to various demons. He is breaking bread with them. Lady Lys soon arrives. She has been sent to entrap Rudd under the pretense of rekindling intimacy with him. They talk, but he refuses her. Regardless, though, he is captured by some flying demons and is brought before Remiel in the heart of hell. There, Remiel, who is becoming increasingly unstable, demands that Rudd renounce his beliefs. Rudd is serene and unyielding, though. He embodies the calm certainty that Remiel, who is erratic now, seems to lack. Remiel orders that Rudd be tortured, and torture follows, but afterwards, when Remiel asks Rudd to recant and tell his followers that he was wrong and explain to them the necessity for hell's existence, Rudd, he still refuses. So Remiel passes a sentence that he will take Christopher Rudd's soul and divide it into many pieces. Remiel reaches into Rudd's chest and tries to pull his soul out of it, but Remiel is interrupted by Duma, the Angel of Silence, who long ago accepted the key to hell from Morpheus. Duma utters his first word in a long time. He says, "No." Remiel questions, "Duma? What?" Duma speaks, "You are right, my brother. This thing is too hard. This cup must pass from you." Remiel replies, But you have spoken. Before these fallen creatures, you have broken faith with your creator?" Duma says, "It is not broken, only moved from one quarter into another. I am the elder here, Remiel. I am the bearer of the key. He says this, holding the key to hell. Duma continues, the weight of this verdict falls on me alone. Duma then hands the key to Christopher Rudd and he says, rule us, Christopher Rudd. You have shown yourself fit. And with that, Christopher Rudd becomes Hell's new ruler. His task is to teach the damned. Lucifer issue 56, Crux, part 1 of 2. Finally, we pick up on a plot thread that we left off of from Lucifer issue 49, with Mazikeen meeting and talking with her mother from behind the waterfall of knives. Mazikeen's mother, Lilith, tells Mazikeen of all these prophecies of things she saw, some of which have happened already and some of which will happen soon. Mazikeen asks her mom how did she come to see these things and why is she telling her now? Lilith answers, I don't know, because Lucifer's fate concerns you, I suppose, and all these things come back to him in the end. Lilith then asks Mazikeen, you haven't embraced me or wept on my shoulder or shown any other sign of being happy to see me again. Mazikeen bitterly replies, it's been long and you left us at your own free will, and you never came back. Lilith asks, is she not remembered by her children? Mazikeen answers, yes, you're remembered. We remember what you told us to remember, that heaven has wronged us, that we exist to avenge that wrong. You shaped us well, Mother. Lilith says, I gave you life. Is it wrong to ask for loyalty? You should know, Mazikeen, that matters are coming to a crux, a point of balance. Lilith then starts getting into an explanation of how she knows some of the things she knows about the future. She goes on to explain after her lover, the angel Ibriel, died, it was hard on her. She had loved him, and her own children had killed him. It was hard for her to bear, and she found it impossible to tolerate her children. So Lilith abandoned her kids, and she walked into the wilderness. Despite abandoning her children, her one child, the son, Brydak, followed her into the wilderness, determined to protect her. Eventually, Lilith's journey took her to a place called the Soft Places, where time and space flow like water. The Soft Places is a concept we saw in Neil Gaiman's Sandman. It is a place where the boundaries of reality between time and even dreams blur. Geography and time don't behave normally. You can walk into a soft place and suddenly you find yourself centuries in the past, or face to face with someone from another era. Well, Lilith, she explored these soft places, all while Brydak was secretly following her. When Lilith walked through these soft places, she eventually came upon a macrobiotic restaurant. At least that's what it looked like on the outside. This building is a place called the Barrow Jane. It is the headquarters of one of many groups who seem intent on ending the universe in Yahweh's absence. When Lilith approached the Barrow Jane, she was met by a mysterious figure known as the Silk Man. This Silk Man was anticipating Lilith's arrival. He welcomes her. Good day to you, Lilith of Eden Garden. You are most welcome here. Lilith asked, You know me? The Silk Man answered, We are here expressly on your account. Please step inside. The weather is inclement. Have you a retinue? Any servants or companions? Lilith, lying, said, No, I'm alone. You can close the door. Lilith still hated her son Brydak for killing her lover Ibriel. As the door closed, the Barrow Jane shifted through the soft places, and little Brydak, who was following behind, was left behind, and he was crushed, blinded, and left in pain, able to see all. This is how he became the grotesque creature we saw in earlier Lucifer volumes. Once inside the Barrow Jane, Lilith was introduced to others that were awaiting her arrival. So beyond the Silk Man, there is also a man named Barum. He is another one of the Jinn in Mach. There was also the angel, Sandalphon. and some sort of artificial being known as Tina, who seems to be a servant of sorts. Barum explains to Lilith their goals. He says they wish to smash the throne of heaven, rape and murder its host of angels, and close the doors of creation in Yahweh's face. And they were hoping to enlist Lilith's help, as her children and her were the ones that helped build the Silver City, so she can help them in their plotting. Lilith, who hated the angels in the Silver City just as much as these men did, agreed to side with them. Back in the current day, Lilith and Mazikeen leave Lilith's sanctuary. They walk over to two horses. Lilith invites Mazikeen to ride with her. Mazikeen refuses though, as she wishes to go back and connect with Lucifer. Lilith tries to dissuade her daughter and says, "He went to the roots of Yggdrasil and he never came back." Mazikeen replies, "All the more reason I have to go to him." Lilith responds, "But by the time you went, you wouldn't find him there. You should go with me and learn where he is now." Mazikeen, a little angry, says, "If you know where Lucifer is, then tell me. My patience is ended." Lilith to this says, "Well, I'd hoped that your affection for me would have brought you a little further along the road, but perhaps this way is best, after all." So Lilith, she has plans, and it seems like Mazikeen has different plans than her. So Mazikeen's gotta go. Barum, the Jinn and Mach, whom is also a shapeshifter, as all Jinn and Mach are, he is there in the form of a monocled white tiger, and he attacks and jumps on Mazikeen. Lucifer, issue 57, Crux, part 2 of 2. Barum, the Jinn and Mach in tiger form, attacks Mazikeen. Mazikeen fights back. She slashes at the tiger with her sword, but eventually the tiger overcomes and subdues her. Once Mazikeen is knocked out, Barum returns to his human form. Lilith and Barum then travel to the Lilim camp, where all of Lilith's children are. Lilith addresses all of her children, saying, "Well, will none of you welcome me? Will none of you give me the honor that is my due?" The Lilim, who have not seen their mother in quite some time, are at first apprehensive, but eventually they bow before her and say, "Welcome home, mother." Lilith responds, "Ah, home. Is that what this is? I bade that you fight for Eden Garden, and you've pitched your tents in a desert?" One of the Lilim, known as Misran, says, "Brydak made Mazikeen our war leader, and Mazikeen pledged our service to Lucifer." Lilith cuts in and says, "Do the Lilim serve? Do the Lilim eat Yahweh's leavings or atoms? No. Then why should they eat Lucifer's? You all have followed false prophets, false leaders. One of them is there, a broken reed." She says this pointing to Mazikeen, and then she says, "Bring me the other." Lilith goes into one of the tents where her other child, Brydak, is. Brydak, the one she abandoned in the soft places, thus turning him into this blind creature. Brydak, not happy to sense his mother here, says, "I see the seed and I see the rot. Rot is what you bring, of course. I saw you coming." Lilith responds, "You have been the steward of my children and you have betrayed them, but now their time is at hand." Brydak interjects, "No, only chaos is at hand. Chaos and then a silence that lasts forever. I know what your friends showed you, and what they failed to show you. There would have been a chance for life, for the worlds to endure. But when the Silver City falls and when the throne is broken, nothing can." Lilith, having fully bought into the plans of those in the Barrow Jane, does not want to hear the protests of her son. So she grabs a mallet and smashes him in the face. She then orders her other children, "Take him outside and lay him down beside his wicked sister. Bind his hands, and if he screams, stop his mouth. And if he screams or if he wakes and tries to speak with you, a sacrifice should be solemn. Let us try not to mar it." So Lilith, after removing her two children that were most in command of the Lilim, Mazikeen and Brydak, Lilith has now once again taken control over her kids and leads them. And she will soon lead them into the war with heaven and the Silver City. Elsewhere, we jump back over to Lucifer and Elaine Belloc. The Archangel Michael has died, and his demiurgic power has been released, and it is up to Elaine to contain it. Only she is too small. Their only chance of survival is to remove the power into a space where there is nothing. Lucifer attempts to guide her. He says, "Imagine a space. This is a space where we are. This is the absence of space. Push against it. Make it back away from you so that you can feel it." Elaine and Lucifer soon find themselves in a white void, a space where nothing is. Elaine, she asks Lucifer, "Like this?" Lucifer answers, "Yes, like that. That's excellent. Now we begin." So Elaine and Lucifer in this white void, and Lucifer with his tattered wings is going to try and help guide Elaine. Guide her and help her contain these powers. Lucifer, issue 58, The Yahweh Dance. Lucifer and Elaine were in a void. This was apparently a new universe, a new cosmos, except this time it was created by Elaine. So now there is a third universe. Yahweh's universe, Lucifer's universe, and now Elaine's universe. Lucifer, he is trying to encourage Elaine to explore her Yahweh powers, her creation abilities. Besides, he tells her there's no escaping this place until Elaine can create them an exit. Elaine sarcastically replies to Lucifer, "Well, thanks a lot. That's just perfect." And with that word of sarcasm, she said the word perfect, and hey yeah, the third world, the perfect world where they now live, is born. So the blinded Elaine starts creating on this world. She creates a world, and then she creates animals on the world, deer and cats and horse and badger. She breathed out her breath into the sky. An eagle and a jay and peacocks were born. And lastly, she mixed her spit with the dirt of the earth and shaped it with her fingers, and man was now born. Lucifer asks her, "What exactly are you doing?" Elaine replies, "My best. It's easy for you to sneer. You've done this before. And I can't even see what I'm doing. I have to sort of feel it with my mind and then guess what it all means." Elaine, she continues with her creating. Her world was too cold, and the decay thing, what happens when you die, it wasn't working right. So she made the core of the world molten to raise the surface temperature, and she put some bugs to eat the dead things. She asks Lucifer, "Do you think that'll do it?" Lucifer tells her, "Sorry, this is called the learning by doing." So Elaine continues. As time went on Elaine's world, man kept doing man things. They wanted to appease their creator, whom they did not even know was Elaine, and they began doing human sacrifices. Elaine, watching this, grew annoyed. She said, "Ugh, it's going wrong. They're killing each other." Lucifer tells her, "That's an activity that never goes out of fashion. If you imagine you can stop it or even slow it down, you're going to be very disappointed." Elaine tells Lucifer, "But they're doing it in my name. I mean, their creator's name." "Oh, to hell with this. I'm going in." Before this, Elaine did not make herself known to the people of her universe, but now she appears before them. She appears in the clouds in the sky, and she walked among them, and she told them, "I am she, thy maker, thy unnamed. But from this time forth you will call me Elaine, and you will make no more sacrifices unto me. I will not receive them, nor the prayers that go with them. But if you pray with unfeigned heart and contrite spirit, then only I will hear you, and I will keep you safe, even for love of you who are my people." Elaine, as she said all this, she stopped the volcano from erupting with her hands, and where she quenched the volcano with her hand grew black with soot. And the people of Elaine's world took this as a sign, and they said to each other, "We will be the people of the mark." And soon every child that was born alive amongst them they would inscribe with that mark on their hands to signify their covenant with Elaine. As Elaine's cosmos went on, the population grew, and then they fell into starvation and plague. And then on top of it, the bugs that Elaine created mutated, and now they're killing people. Elaine decided that she would mutate the bugs back, but then she thought about it more, and then she said, oh, but then the population crisis will just get worse, and they'll starve and they'll murder each other for food. Lucifer asks her, do you have a better solution in mind? Elaine thinks and says, I think maybe I'll do nothing. So Elaine just let her cosmos go on and tried not to interfere. Well, 1 in 3 died. But time went on. Eventually, the people that were devoted to Elaine traveled the globe, and they found another group of people that did not even ever hear of Elaine. They worshipped instead an idol in the form of a great dog, which they called Arun. And when the religious people devoted to Elaine met these other religious people, they enslaved them, of course. They had to be punished for their grievous sin of not worshipping Elaine. Elaine, talking to Lucifer, says, how did I miss that? How could I miss a whole other race? Ugh, I just can't do this anymore. Lucifer encourages her to continue, though. He says, you have to. Trust me. There is a point and you're nearly there. Elaine tried to manipulate the other rival religion, and then she also grew a great wall of trees that separated the two religious groups. Eventually, 1,000 years passed in Elaine's cosmos. The people in her world evolved. They evolved to the point that they formed a modern technological society. Despite their advancements, the two major religions, that of Elaine and that of the dog Arun, still wanted to pull down heaven. They no longer wanted to fear the eye in the sky. And in order to reach the heavens, they would take a very drastic step. One of the main religious leaders in Elaine's world gave a speech to a crowd, where he would lead 100,000 of them into suicide. Meanwhile, on the other side of this great wall that Elaine erected, the followers of Arun would also commit suicide in great numbers, and they would all throw themselves on the wall. The leader of Elaine's religion in his speech said, my friends, you have come here to take part in a great venture, to kill yourselves, and as you die, to throw the pain of your deaths against the wall. 100,000 mortal wounds are a great force indeed, and I, your lens, will magnify them so that they are even greater. But still the wall might endure. Were it not for the Northernlings, our ancient enemies, they too have chosen 100,000 to die and a lens to focus the deaths. This, we hope, will be enough. I don't know anything about any of you. You may be great heroes or great rogues, but for what you do here today, you will be remembered until the world ends. Now raise your daggers, intone the words of your choosing, fix your minds upon the wall, and strike! Elaine finally decided to interfere, and she made them all drop their weapons. Elaine, she took down the gigantic barrier wall she made separating the two sides, and she said, okay, you've made your point. I'll take the wall down. Afterwards, Elaine talked with Lucifer. Lucifer tells her, that looks like surrender. Elaine responds, I don't care what it looks like, and I don't want to hear any more from you about it. Lucifer, interested, says, that sounds promising, go on. Elaine, to this, says, go on and what? Draw the moral? That the life of puppets is no life at all? You knew that already, and that isn't even the point. You just wanted me to do the God thing, the Yahweh dance, so I'd get used to the power, so I'd get the feel of it. Lucifer says, and do you think you've got it now? Elaine answers, yes, Lucifer, I've got it. Lucifer tells her, well then, go on, please, do the honors. Elaine, she then creates a gateway, and above the gateway she writes her name, Elaine. And then finally, Elaine and Lucifer pass through it. Lucifer issue 59, The Breach, part 1 of 3. Jill Presto returns to Los Angeles to the Lux. She is trying to seek out Lucifer's aid to help her get rid of the other Bassanos child she found out that she is still impregnated with. The Lux is still closed, but it still draws a crowd. Jill talks to some of the young people around the Lux. There is one young girl there who actually recognizes Jill as the famous singer. They talk for a while. They get interrupted though by a motorcycle gang, which apparently is a normal occurrence here. With God having abandoned heaven recently, things on earth are starting to crumble, especially spiritually. The motorcycle gang rides on those near the Lux and attacks them. One of the young women Jill was talking to gets smashed in the head with a club. The motorcycle gang then grabs Jill, and they pour gasoline on her, and they are about to light her aflame, although Jill is still protected by the Bassanos child within her. When the motorcycle gang member attempts to light a match, he instead bursts into flames himself, and Jill is protected. Everyone else soon runs in fear. Jill then talks to the young woman she was talking to earlier, the one that got bashed in the skull by the motorcycle gang. The young woman is dying. Jill asks her, is there anyone, I should, call? The woman responds, "It doesn't matter. This is just a sign, a symptom. The world is unraveling and it's going to get a lot worse. Listen to me. You have to go to Vegas again, to the Fire Ends Casino. Dead birds, and a man saying, spin it, kid. 13 black will win it. Bet everything you have." Meanwhile, we jump back over to Lilith, and her taking back over the reins of her children, the Lilim. Lilith says Mazikeen and Brydak must be punished. They will run the gauntlet, receiving one blow from each of their siblings, because they have injured each of you, and after that, she wants her children to dig a pit and bury them. After she gives her orders, Beatrice is brought to Lilith. One of the demons says, "This is the human woman who Mazikeen brought here to be her whore." Lilith finds Beatrice abhorrent. She finds it abhorrent that her daughter Mazikeen would take a daughter of Eve into her bed and consort so openly with our enemies. Beatrice warns Lilith, "You think you've beaten her? Nobody beats her. She'll kill you." Lilith orders her children to give Beatrice a skin of water and turn her out into the wastes. She has no business here. So Beatrice is sent away from the Lilim camp and sent into the wastes with nothing but a skin of water. And even when she leaves with that water skin, Barum in his tiger form slashes at the water cask, making the water spill out. Beatrice then has to march on. So Mazikeen and Brydak are forced to walk through the gauntlet, and they get beat by all their siblings throughout the process, and eventually they get tossed into a pit which they will eventually be buried in. Brydak, who is able to see visions of the future, yells out to his mother, "What you saw was only one epiphany. The past and the future are the air I breathe, and I have seen where this goes. You will destroy everything, but everything is nothing, and you will be queen of nothing when there is nothing else left for you to be." Lilith does not want to hear more. She orders the rest of her children to begin burying these two. We jump back over to Jill Presto, who has arrived in Las Vegas. She gets a taxicab to the Fire Ends Casino. On her taxi ride from the airport to the casino, the Las Vegas streets seem like they are filled with anarchy. Jill, she makes a pit stop at a bank and takes out all the money she has. And then she arrives at the casino. Before she heads in, she sees something that looks like a tornado up in the sky. An old man pointing to the sky says, "That's God riding into Vegas." Jill, with all of her money, walks through the casino floor. The storm outside is starting to really kick off. Birds are just slamming into the windows above, dying. At a roulette table, one of the gamblers says to Jill, "Never mind that, just spin the wheel, kid. Some of us came here to play." Jill recognizes this. The dead birds and the man saying to just spin it. These are things the girl told Jill of earlier. The girl also told Jill that 13 Black will win it, and to bet everything she has. So Jill, she bets it all, but she doesn't bet on 13 Black. She instead bets all of it on red. The roulette wheel is then spinned, and the ball stops on 13 Black. Jill Presto lost all her money, but it seems like she purposely did so. After losing, Jill goes outside to look at the storm some more, and there she is met by a man whose name we are not given, but Jill seems to refer to as the gangster ghost god. This god of sorts seems to be some sort of gangster god of Vegas. This gangster ghost god says to Jill, "Hell of a storm. I thought I knew the city pretty well, but shit, I never saw her like this before. And I never saw a play like yours before. Betting a stack like that, knowing that you were gonna lose? Unless, and I could be out of line here, you're betting on something else." Jill asks, "Like what?" The man continues, "Like, I don't know. Like maybe that any gods who live around here would sooner have a big roll on the wheel than a fatted calf. If you were gonna make him an offering, I mean." So it seems like Jill losing on roulette was some sort of offering to these gods here. The two of them then watch the storm really kick off on Vegas. Tornadoes, lightning, hail coming down. This storm also appears to hit Beatrice as well in the deserts she was walking in Lucifer's cosmos. The storms are also raging over where Mazikeen and Brydak are. As the two of them are being buried alive, all of a sudden Mazikeen seems to disappear. The Lilim report back to Lilith, "Mother, we can't bury them. Look there, she's gone. Mazikeen is gone." Lucifer issue 60, The Breach, part 2 of 3. Jill speaks with the Vegas gangster ghost god, and she wants help removing this other Bassinos child inside of her. The Vegas god tells Jill, "You got yourself in trouble, and now you want to get yourself fixed." Vegas understands that, but still, opinion is kind of divided. Vegas appreciates the offering you made and how you made it, but Vegas also likes the thing that's inside you, the thing that shuffles destinies like cards. Very much Vegas likes that. So Vegas is really of two minds about this. Jill asks, "So will you help me, yes or no, because I don't have time for this bullshit?" The Vegas god responds, "Yes and no is more or less what we decided." The Vegas god walks Jill to the edge of town, and then he points out in the distance. He says, "You see that? There's 300 miles of desert, of nothing between here and Grants, clear across Arizona into New Mexico. That's where you're going. We want this birth of yours to go ahead, but we're giving you a chance to square it with the kid inside you before it comes out of you. You know, so it doesn't come out fighting." Jill, she pleads and she argues with the Vegas god of how upset she is about this Bassinos child inside of her that came from them raping her. The Vegas god doesn't care about any of that. He just tells Jill to get walking. He says for her to go east. Someone's waiting for you on the other side. But there's some stipulations. She can't eat or drink, and she's got to make it there before the sun comes up. Jill replies, 300 miles in one night? How can anyone do that? The Vegas god answers, by cheating, I guess. Gonna be interesting to watch either way. See you in the funny papers. And with that, the gangster ghost god of Vegas walks away. Back in Lucifer's cosmos, some of the Lilim finish burying Brydak. The storms are starting to rage there too, though, and sand is blowing up a dust storm. Within the dust storm, Mazikeen, who is hiding out, manages to attack her Lilim siblings that were burying Brydak and take them out. Mazikeen tells her fallen brothers, "Blood for blood, brother, and more to come." Later on, Lilith and Barum see that Mazikeen appears to have killed some of her siblings and escaped off into the distance. Lilith wants to gather a warring party to take Mazikeen down, but Barum says there is no time. He will go hunt Mazikeen down. Lilith needs to be here to rally the troops. So Barum heads off to hunt Mazikeen down. Back over to Jill Presto. Jill staggers through the desert, forbidden to eat or drink, yet nothing bars her from lighting the cigar gifted to her by the gangster ghost god, like a spectral father handing out cigars like blessings at a birth. The smoke from the cigar draws a coyote who slips into the form of a handsome naked man who attempts to seduce Jill. His seed, he boasts, will drive out all others. Jill refuses the man, saying she belongs to no one. The coyote responds, "Even though I danced a charm around you to make you desire me? Ha! The gambler said that you were clever." "Very well, I could force you." Jill says, "You could try." The coyote answers, "But you beat me fairly, I would be shamed. So I will speed you instead. The gambler said that this is what you wanted. But I will see you again, Jill Presto, at the ending, because there will be an ending soon." After that interaction, Jill seemingly speeds up. She continues to make her way through the desert. Eventually, she arrives at a canyon in northern Arizona. There she is greeted by Rachel Bagai, who is a character we met in the very first Lucifer story arc. It appears like Rachel has been waiting for Jill. "Rachel," she says, "Granddad, she's here! She's come!" Jill, haggard, says, "Get out of my way. I've only got until the sun comes up." Rachel responds, "It's all right. This is where you were meant to come." Rachel then ushers Jill into her tent. Rachel then tells her granddad, Sam Bagai, she thinks she failed. She doesn't know where she is. Sam responds to his granddaughter, "It's best she sleeps in any case. Boil that water up, Rachel. Her real trial is still to come." Meanwhile, back over to Lilith. Lilith is talking to her children, trying to prepare them for battle. Her children question what Lilith is thinking, though. There's no way they can top the Silver City, not alone. Lilith tells them that I say that we would be alone. Lilith then has all of her children follow her. She is now going to introduce them to some new allies. Lilith addresses her kids. "My children, I saw a vision a long time ago. I was in this place, and a host descended to meet me. So I set about to forge this host. Angels, but not of heaven. I met their father, a son of heaven, in the soft places. We coupled there, and I conceived not once, but many." So Lilith apparently mated with the angel Sandalphon in the soft places, and they had many angel children, enough to build an army. The Lilim asks Lilith how this is possible, as angels cannot mate. Lilith explains, "They cannot, but I can. Even a breath makes my womb quicken. These are your brothers and sisters. Give them welcome." And then we see descending from the sky are Sandalphon and an army of Sandalphon and Lilith's half-breed angel kids. Lucifer issue 61, The Breach, part 3 of 3. In Lucifer's cosmos, Lilith is introducing her two sets of children to each other. Her Lilim children as well as her half-breed angel children. Lilith also greets Sandalphon. Sandalphon tells her, "I have missed you." Lilith replies, "Have you? I have endured our parting very well. What we have done was not done for love's sake, but to topple heaven. You wanted an army? I have given you two." Lilith then addresses both sets of her children and she says, "And now it begins, my dear ones. Now eons of insult will finally be avenged. God and his angels will bleed for what they have done to us. We march on the Silver City from the plains that stand below its eastern aspect. So Lilith, Sandalphon, and her army of children march on. As they approach their destination, they see a great light. Lilith says, "There, that is the light I promised you, and this is our hour, the time foretold." We jump away from Lilith and the army marching to go back to Jill. Jill Presto wakes up in Rachel's tent, confused. Eventually, they are joined by Rachel's grandfather, Sam. Sam welcomes Jill to his house. He then asks Jill if she's ready. Jill, confused, asks, "Ready for what?" Sam answers, "Ready for the journey. You must talk to your child before she is born. She lies breech. She intends to kill you as she comes into the world." So Sam wants Jill to go on a journey, and his granddaughter Rachel will go with Jill to aid her. Jill, apprehensive, decides to roll with it. Sam gives her some peyote to eat. Jill questions, "My fetus wants to launch a commando raid against me from the inside? You really think getting high is an adequate response?" Sam answers, "There is no other way for you to go where you must go. It is hard to pass a needle through its own eye, Jill." So Jill eats the peyote, and then Sam starts spreading sand on the floor of the tent in a particular pattern. Soon, Jill and Rachel get transported to some sort of metaphysical world that is, in essence, Jill's womb. As they explore the womb, they see various things. The walls are red. There's various things from Jill's past, such as a doll called Melanie that she had when she was a kid. Also, her magic partner, Hugo, who Jill is not happy to see, so she manages to magic away. As they explore Jill's womb, eventually they meet Jill's unborn daughter from the Bassinos, a little girl named Noema. Rachel tells Jill, "Be careful and be polite." Jill attempts to talk to the girl. The girl says, "Leave me alone, mother. I don't want to talk to you." Jill reacts to the girl's defiance with a defiance of her own. She says, "Hey, this is me. This is my body. See the arrow? You are right frickin' here. So you do not get to tell me where to go or what to say. You will frickin' hear me out. You're like some kind of egg that got laid inside me like flies lay their egg in meat. I just want you to get the hell out. That's all I want." Noema responds, I will go, and you'll be sorry when I do because you'll die." Jill curses the child back. She then tells the little girl, "I was raped by a deck of cards, you understand that? You're the product of a rape, and if I could have gotten to you with a bent coat hanger, you'd be dead. You'd be dead." Rachel tries to calm Jill down, saying, "You should shut up now, you've said enough." Jill argues back, "I'm telling the truth." Rachel tells her, "You're committing suicide." Rachel then talks to the little girl and she says, "Noema, I think you and your mom got off to a bad start. Look, I know you're scared and I want you to explain what you're scared of." Noema says, "I'm not scared." Rachel tells her, "Yes, you are. You think I haven't seen scared before? You're almost peeing yourself." Noema, she thinks on it and then she says, "She wants to kill me, she said it. She wants to kill me like she killed my brother Icon." Jill argues, "Your brother tried to brainwash me. He tried to make me love him. What I did to him was pure self-defense." Noema argues, "He was yours. You should have loved him because he was yours." Jill answers, It didn't feel that way. Look, you don't understand what it was like with the Bassinos. I was helpless. They tortured me. They did this to me. They made me into a toy. I killed Icon because I couldn't think of any other way to get free." Noema then starts thinking of a compromise. She says, "If I let you be free, do you think you'd love me?" Jill answers, "Truth? Right now I find you about as lovable as a tapeworm, but how can I know? How can I know the answer to that?" Rachel asks, "Noema, is there a way for you to be born that doesn't kill Jill? Then maybe the two of you could hang loose and see what develops." Noema answers, "If I set my power aside just as I was coming out, I could be like any baby coming out. But Then if you wanted to hurt me, there'd be a few seconds where you'd be able to. Rachel asks Jill, will you promise not to hurt her? Jill answers, what kind of question is that? What would it even mean if I said that? It's just words. Rachel answers, well, the only way this is going to work is if you two decide to trust each other. Will you promise? Jill, she promises. She says, if you let me live, I won't hurt you. Hurting you wasn't the point. Jill then tries to make peace with Noema, giving her her little doll Melanie that she had when she was a girl that she found here in this place. Noema accepts the doll, but then she says, look, I need to be born now, so you should probably wake up. And then all of a sudden, boom! Rachel and Jill wake up, back in Sam's tent. Jill, now awake, says, I think the baby's coming. Sam and Rachel then aid Jill through the childbirth process. And in the end, the Bassinos child, Noema, is born. And just as the child comes into the world, we see Lucifer and Elaine have finally arrived as well, successfully leaving Elaine's cosmos and returning here. And with the new child, the return of Elaine and Lucifer, and with Lilith and her armies approaching the Silver City, we reach the end of Volume 9. Alright, so that was Volume 9. Now, let me go through my thoughts now. The 8th Sin single issue I thought was really fun. Seeing the kind of anarchy hell has fallen into with God being gone, and seeing the demons starting to be a little bit kind and compassionate to one another, which is a big no-no. And we find out that Christopher Rudd is behind this, and through a series of events, he becomes the new ruler of hell, which is an exciting status quo shift there. Then we had the 2-issue The Crux storyline, which was also pretty great. Seeing Lilith and Masakine finally having a conversation. We learn about Lilith's past and her time in the soft places, and this Barrow Jane, and the new allies she made, Barum Sandalphon and this Silk Man. And then we see Lilith turn on Masakine and become the new ruler of the Lilim once again, and she's going to use her Lilim army for her own means. So all in all, pretty exciting stuff. Then we had the Yahweh dance issue, which I loved. This concept of Lucifer and Elaine in this new cosmos, and Elaine has these creation powers which she absorbed from her dad, and then she has to learn how to use them. And it's really fun just watching Elaine try and build this world, try to make everyone happy on the world, but things aren't going as she wants them to. The people start to doing sacrifices in her name. She doesn't want that. The people start having a plague, and then Elaine wants to step in, but she might make it worse. And then there's a whole other sect of people that don't worship Elaine, and the Elaine worshippers attack them and enslave them, and Elaine tries to stop that. Just very fun watching Elaine kind of struggling to keep a grasp on her world there, and it's really fun seeing Lucifer and Elaine explore that. And finally, we end that issue with Elaine learning her god powers, and they leave Elaine's cosmos and head back to the regular world. So really loved the Yahweh dance issue there, my favorite in this volume. Then we had a three-issue arc called The Breach, where a whole bunch of stuff happens. Now we had Jill Presto going to the Lux. She wants some help with her Bassinos child, and then she sees some girl die, and the girl gives her some sort of obscure hints on where to go. So she goes back to the casino, and then she bets it all against what the girl said. And then somehow she connects with this Vegas gangster god, which I will say, some of that whole gangster god of Vegas stuff, I didn't know if I fully bought into how Jill was able to connect the dots and figure out what she was supposed to do. But I guess Jill was just doing random stuff and hoping it would work out. But anyway, Jill, she gets told to walk this desert, and then she eventually meets Rachel Burgai and Rachel's grandfather, which is a nice callback to the very first issues of Lucifer, having Rachel Burgai show up again. So that was neat. And then they go on another spiritual journey where Jill talks with her unborn daughter and this Bassinos child, and they sort of make peace. and eventually Jill gives birth to that child. So that was neat. And then meanwhile, Lilith is sort of furthering her plots, and we learn that she spawned a whole bunch of half-breed angel children with Sandalphon, and with those angel kids and the Lilum, she's got herself quite an army to attack the Silver City with. And we end with a tease of that to happen next volume. So really exciting stuff there. A big war has been promised to happen in the next story arc, so I'm really excited. And then also we do have Lucifer and Elaine coming back from the Yahweh dance issue to meet back up with Jill Presto. So they will maybe be a spoiler on some of the events that happen. So really exciting status quo shift and setting stuff up for next volume. So I'm really excited for volume 10 here. I'm going to give volume 9, though, an 8 out of 10. Continues to be very fun. Thank you all for watching, and I'll be back in the future with volume 10.